Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the July 28th regular meeting of the Code Enforcement Board for Seminole County. We're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance, and then anybody who's going to be offering testimony today, I would ask that you remain standing so we can have the clerk swear you in. So this time, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're going to be giving testimony. Please remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth? Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, could you conduct a roll call, please?
Dudley Bates.
Here.
Lori Patton.
Here.
Don Peterson is excused. Dennis Warren.
Here.
Jane Hames. Sorry, Catherine Townsend.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, good afternoon and welcome to the July 28th hearing. Before we begin, I'd like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Code Enforcement Board. This meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government and Sunshine Law. Therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or arguments to offer. It is required that every person who appears before the Code Enforcement Board needs to be registered with the clerk to the Code Enforcement Board. The cases where respondents are present and signed will be heard first. You'll be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk to the Code Enforcement Board. Once all cases where the respondents are present have been heard, the Code Enforcement Board will hear the remaining cases as they appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents, which is right up here in front. The county will present their case, then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, please limit your comments to only information related to this case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the Code Enforcement Board. The Code Enforcement Board will then make their decision based on the evidence and testimony presented by both parties. All proceedings before the Code Enforcement Board are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance due to hearing impairment or language barrier, please inform the clerk upon registration. All cell phones and other devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. And we'll get moving here in a minute. I failed to note that I'm going to recommend that we change the order of the agenda in order to take the people that are here first. And I would recommend that we take item number 10, which is case number 2185 CEB, Justin Marlett, as the first case, and the two Lundy cases, items 22-08 and 22-09 CEB, which you can find on pages 10 and 11. My suggestion is we take this first and then follow the rest of the agenda in the order it is. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Justin Marlett's item number 11, not 10.
Did I say? I thought I said
It's on page 10, though.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That's fine.
And the other one's on page 11 and 12, the Lundys, two
Okay.
Lundy cases. Is there a motion to revise the
So
agenda?
moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by Ms. Patton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That being said, we're going to call the first case up, which is case number 21-85 CEB, Justin Marlett, 1120 B Lane, Geneva, Florida, 32732. This case is Officer Hurd's case.
Item number 11.
And your name, sir?
Justin Marlett.
Justin Marlette. And my correction, this item is item number 11, and the other one, well, this is the one we're on, item number 11. Okay, thank you, Mr. Marlette. Whenever you're ready, Officer Hill.
Okay. Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This is case 2185 CEB, Justin Marlette, located at 1120 B Lane in Geneva. The violation was Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 6, Section 30.102. Storage on a vacant parcel is not a permitted use in an A5 zoning district. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on January 27, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of February 28, 2022. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the Code Enforcement Officer after inspection on March 2, 2022. An affidavit of compliance was filed by the Code Enforcement Officer after a reinspection on July 25, 2022. Based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on January 27, 2022, the Code Enforcement Board, I'm asking the Code Enforcement Board to reduce the fine to administrative costs totaling $2,591.10 and require these costs to be paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert to the original amount of $15,000 and constitute a lien on the property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill? This was a lien case?
This is a lien hearing, yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a lien. The recommendation is to reduce it to administrative costs, which is how much again?
Administrative costs, $2,591.10.
I'm assuming that it's in order, it's in compliance?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. No questions for Officer Hill. Sir, this is your opportunity to speak to this matter.
I'm asking for the administrative costs to be handled, as it's taken me a year financially to be able to have a primary structure there, to simply raise my autistic daughter. That's all I want to do. And it's taken me that long to have it there. And fines aren't going to help anything, or fees.
Okay, you said you were asking to have the administrative costs handled. What exactly does that mean?
Reduced, removed, I mean, whatever I can do. It's taken me that long to financially be able to have a primary structure there, so.
The original amount was 15, and they're reducing it to 2,500. That's pretty generous already.
I understand, but I wouldn't have taken a year if I had the money to have a primary structure from the beginning. I just simply wanted a place to raise my daughter. That's it.
But you broke a bunch of rules in the meantime.
There's a lot of people in Geneva that live in RVs. That was the initial problem, which I wasn't even aware of from the beginning. But it took me this long to get a primary structure there. I mean, I.
What if they gave you a little bit more time and you paid it in chunks?
I mean, if I have to. I know it's 30 days is impossible.
I'm asking you to offer us something besides zero. Zero's not going to fly. It costs the county effort and expense and man time to try to get to where we are today. And that cost is $25.91.10, and that's all we're asking back from you right now, because you did get in compliance, not the $15,000 that we could do. I'm asking you for something besides zero.
Okay.
What are you offering us
Could I
besides
have
zero?
3 months and $1,000 even?
Council, is that something the board can do?
Yep, you can reduce it to any amount that you believe is reasonable. You can waive the fine if you believe that's reasonable. You can provide extra time for payment. What you can't do is offer a payment plan. So he can't pay it off chunk, little bit at a time. It would have to be the entire amount by the deadline that you provide him. Do you need me a little louder?
No, I
Okay, yeah.
appreciate it.
So you have the decision. He's in compliance. The ultimate goal is compliance. It does appear it took about 6 months to get there. The county's willing to reduce it to administrative cost, but you can choose to further reduce it or waive it. You can also consider a longer time period to pay whatever amount you choose back, but it has to be a one-time payment by that deadline.
Officer Hill,
Yes, ma'am.
would there be an objection from code enforcement staff to do $1,000 by the end of October?
No.
Motion to reduce it and accept it to $1,000 due by Halloween, October 31st. That's 3 months.
Second that.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Townsend, to reduce the fine amount to $1,000 to be paid by October 1st?
October 31st, Halloween.
October 31st.
You won't forget the date.
Okay. October 31st, or it reverts back to the original fine of $15,000 and would be imposed as a lien. Everybody understand the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So what we've done, it's been reduced. You've got till October 31st. If you don't pay it, it reverts back and a lien is placed.
Okay,
Okay?
sounds good.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you for taking care of the
Thank you.
problem. Next case, and there are two cases with this respondent. First one being 22-08 CEB, that's item number 12. I may have misspoke earlier. I don't have page numbers here, so I'm confusing. I may have said page number 12, but this is item number 12, 22-08 CEB, Norma L. Lundy, 1226 Flint Trail, Geneva, Florida 32732. Second item, we'll hear them back to back and vote on them separately, is item number 22-09 CEB, same respondent, same address, different violation. The officer in this case is Officer Hill. Thank you. And I should note, just for the record, that Ms. Hames just joined us at, looks like 10 minutes after, no, what time is it?
It's 1:47.
1:47.
Apologies.
Thank you. No problem. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This is case 2208 CEB, Norma L. Lundy, located at 1226 Flint Trail in Geneva. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on February 24th, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of March 11th, 2022. The property owner also asked for a request hearing back in April, and they did not show. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on March 14th, 2022. Based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on February 24th, 2022, I'm asking the Code Enforcement Board to issue an order imposing a lien in the amount of $6,950 for 139 days of noncompliance from March 12th, 2022 through and including July 28th, 2022. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill on this? Seeing none, we'll go into, let you read the second case, and you'll have a chance to talk on both these cases here in just a moment. Next case, 22-09 CEB, whenever you're ready.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This is case 2209 CEB, Norma L. Lundy, located at 1226 Flint Trail in Geneva. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A, rubbish. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on February 24th, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of March 11, 2022. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on March 14th, 2022. 2022. Based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on February 24th, 2022, I'm asking the board to issue an order imposing a lien in the amount of $13,900 for 139 days of noncompliance from March 12th, 2022 through and including July 28th, 2022, and that the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions, once again, for Officer Hill? Seeing none, Mr. Lundy, this is your opportunity to speak to these cases.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Lundy on behalf of Norman Lundy. But I've been working slowly on it, and surely it don't look like that now. And I don't know, I mean, I can't afford that amount of money either. I mean, I'm trying to help my mom out, she's sick.
Yep.
Sorry, I had a stroke. These fines that y'all are finding up against us.
Are you here on this case?
Yeah, I'm
sir?
here on this occasion.
Okay,
I'm
well,
Mr. Matthews.
slow down a minute. There's a procedure. Okay, have you been sworn in?
No.
Please stand up and raise your right hand. State your name first for the record.
Well,
Your name, sir?
Stanley Matthews,
Thank you.
and speaking on behalf of Norman Lundy.
You swear, you need to
Stand
Oh,
up.
sure.
don't make him stand for that.
Okay.
Don't
have a
make him
seat.
stand.
Have a seat, sir.
Okay.
Your right hand, please.
Oh, shoot.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
In the behalf of the county lowering its fines against us, I did file a email back in the day, but we never got a response back saying that we had a meeting, we had to make it at that particular time. Now, I can't swear to that because I've had a stroke since then, but I mean, we're doing the best we can do in these harsh times due to our government and the state of the United States and the statutes we're running through right now with the high prices of fuel and groceries that you all know. I don't have to tell you, y'all know, y'all go just like we do. That, you know, we're doing the best, and I don't feel it's in the county's best interest to take control of a property that people are trying to stay put and trying to, you know, keep enough money flowing through to keep the property running, and come into code, you know, non-code violations when the same code violations is throughout Geneva, Florida. You're pushing code violation. I can show you your house right down the road here with a fifth wheel, slide out, sewer hooked up, and that's in the city limits within a block of this building. The people I've talked to, including sheriff department, to deputies I've talked to, they said it's very common for people, you know, on Social Security income, you know, having other people live at the house. And we don't live in the trailers, we live in the house. The trailers are there just for storage. You know, they're other than the Class A motorhome, it is tagged and insured. So, you know, it's in no code violation whatsoever. The code violation y'all have pointed out, I've looked all of it up, and it does not state that. This is an interpretation of a sheriff deputy who was chasing a person on the property, was not happy of what was going on at that particular time. At that particular time, we've got rid of all the troublemakers, lawbreakers off the property. Only person that stays at the house and lives in the house, we all live in the house, we're doing the best we can do. You know, having, a $90,000 fine or a $100,000 fine, you might as well say, I'm just going to take you down our property from you.
All right.
The only thing else that we can do is have to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to bring you back to what we have to focus on as a board. And I think you were getting some discussion, and he was interrupted, as to what he's been trying to do to fix the property, so you might want to go back to that. But the only thing that you're here for today is to decide whether to impose a lien for the fine that has accrued to date because the property remains out of compliance. Doesn't mean that they can't continue to work towards compliance. That's the ultimate goal. And then once they're in compliance, they can address any lien that has been imposed. But I would encourage you to go back to the gentleman and have him state his name for the record so it's clear.
Yes.
I'm Andrew Lundy, and, yeah, that's all I'm asking for, because it's hard on everybody, I can't afford it.
Would you lean to the microphone, please? I have trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry. It's just hard with the economy like it is, and I just now started working, and, and it's hard, so I can't really afford it right now, and I'm trying to help out my mom that's sick, and you can see Mr. Stanley's sick too, because it's pretty hard on me right now. I'm just asking.
Where are we as far as coming into compliance? Where, from this, when this thing started,
I've gotten rid of all my vehicles that had problems with no tag or just being put in engines. I've got rid of all those. I've cleaned up a lot, actually. Like, if you go to this date today, it'd be way better than that right
Yeah,
there.
see, that's gone.
Gone. So we've been working on it. Yeah. See, that black truck, I sold that black truck that carries all that stuff in and out. I got rid of it too. Just to stay at, power, electricity, bills.
Officer Hill, what progress have you seen, or would you like to address anything they've said so far?
The photos that they were addressing, I just asked Officer Henson to go forward to the most recent photos, because those photos that they were indicating were older. Those were from March and February. These are the current ones. These were from taken July 24th.
Yeah, the threatening by the harassment by the helicopter flying over 3 days straight, coming from the Sanford Airport out to that property, a location, flying over, taking shots and coming back. I mean, you can see that we have made quite a bit of progress, and we've made progress in between the flight of the helicopter. You just can't believe that the Seminole County, for a non-law-breaking code, would spend so much money for a flight of a helicopter for a
Okay,
50-cent code violation.
Thank you. Mr. Lundy, would you say those pictures accurately depict what is out there right now?
Right now, no, not anymore.
For the 24th?
Yeah, because all that is all cleaned up right there in front of that fence
Was it
line.
3 days
That's why-
ago?
Yeah. Well, it's different now. We just did a lot of work to it. We've been trying. I just been working.
Last 3 days, a lot
I
of
took
work.
day off work today, actually a half day today, to come in.
And in between, when the violation, you were first noticed on the violation, and the 24th, what have you done?
Well, we did move everybody out of the,
Sir, let me get Mr. Lundy to speak here. I'll give you another opportunity, but I'd like to hear from him.
But we got rid of a lot of stuff out front and sitting there laying around like stoves and tile, because we're remodeling the house. I'm sorry, we're remodeling the house, and we got rid of the tile and shit. I'm sorry. But, yeah, we got real pretty a lot of, and like to say, like, I'm doing a fish pond there. It's under construction, so there's a little bit of tile sitting on a tarp. That's all new stuff.
What is all this stuff? Construction materials? Are you a
Well, see,
scrapper?
no, I'm a welder fabricator. I used to be a roofer, so, I collect a lot of stuff, and I do jobs on the side and for, whatever, this and that, go-karts. But I weld and fabricate inside that shop. It's not really a shop, labeled a shop, it's like my shed, pretty much. But, yeah, I do all my work out of there. I fix people's dirt bikes and go-karts.
Mr. Matthews, I think it was, what's your first name again? Was it
Stanley.
Stanley. Thank you. I'll give you an opportunity in just a minute. Any other questions for Mr. Lundy?
How long do you think it'll take for you to
Be in
get
compliance.
rid of these problems and be in compliance?
If I could, at least like 90 days or so.
You need 90 days to complete getting rid of the rest of that
Right,
junk.
yes, sir, because I don't have a truck anymore to pull it really. It's harder now to get rid of stuff now since I sold my truck and because I didn't have a tag on it.
Mr. Bates, this started in February.
Exactly.
If I may say, this case has been open since September of 2021.
So we're coming up on a year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a tough year for everybody. I know.
Got it, but that's not.
But we have come into code interpretation by
We're not
moving people
debating-
out of the trailers that, that the county said we could not live in the trailers that we were doing in the beginning. I admit to that, we weren't doing that, trying to make room for, as much money we could get coming into the house. But, we did, get rid of, actually living in the trailers altogether.
Any other questions?
What would the counties want us to do to make it seem like we're applying more to the interpretation of what y'all calling for?
Well, the code
climate
enforcement
and-
officer's been out there several times. It's cleaning that up. If you can't look at that picture and tell us what needs to be done, then therein lies the
Well,
issue.
we are out in a rural area. I mean, this is not a city.
It doesn't matter. The code applies to anybody in Seminole County,
Yes, sir.
including if you live in a rural area. So if you have nothing specific to these violations getting fixed, Mr. Matthews, I think we're going to try to move on here.
Mr. Lundy asked for 30 days. That would be October, the October date again, whenever
said
we
90.
are.
He said 90.
He said 90.
90, okay. Well, that would still be October, that's what I was thinking. And that will make this case a year and 1 month old. And Mr. Lundy, if I ask the rest of my friends up here to give you till the end of October,
I won't let you down.
understand that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's it.
I appreciate it.
That's my motion. Let's table this till the October meeting, and he has said on the record he understands that's it.
Okay. Motion is to table these two agenda items.
Yes, sir.
And we'll start with, 22-08 CEB, same motion for 22-09 CEB. Table it for 90 days, and that brings us to October
27th is your meeting.
27th. Keeping in mind, well, let me take the vote first. Anybody opposed to this?
I can second that
Oh.
motion.
Thank you. Second by Ms. Townsend, motion made by Ms. Patton. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's what we've done, tabled this for 90 days. That's all we've done is move this 90 days down on our calendar. The fines still accrue, and this doesn't mean that you're going to come back here and, we're going to re-talk about this in 90 days. The hope is we're going to see this thing
Right.
cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
And that'll take you a long ways, I have a feeling, so
Thank you.
I thank you.
That's it?
That's it. Thanks so much for coming. Won't let us down here. Brings us to item number 1.
No, we got 2 new people.
Oh, yep. Sure do, don't we?
Yes.
We're going back to what?
We're gonna,
We have 2 people that arrived.
2 other people, at least 1 person, 2 cases, same respondents, 21-33 CEB,
What's the item number?
21, item number 4, I believe.
Okay.
4 and 5.
Thank you.
Has 2 named respondents on it, Christopher Bowden and Jamie Warstill.
Oh. It's items 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Okay, 5 and 6. Thank you.
Do they need to get sworn in? Okay, she needs.
Yeah, remain standing, man. We got to swear you in, and just raise your right. What, your name first, please?
Jamie Still.
Thank you. And just raise your hand for the
Do you
clerk.
swear affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take item number 21-33 CEB, followed by 21-34 CEB, Christopher Bowden and Jamie Warstill, 305 Miller Road, Sanford, Florida, 32773. Officer Bavaro, whenever you're ready.
Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement, case 2133 CEB. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on August 26, 2021. An order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of September 23, 2021. Affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on September 28, 2021. On December 2nd, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order continuing this case until March 24, 2022. On March 24th, 2022, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order continuing this case until today. I did respond out to the property on the 14th and met with the property owner. They had removed another violation, but the remains and rubble of a structure violation, which is this case 2133, still remained. It's a carport, and then there's the other structure behind it that we did see on the 14th that's going to need to be repaired. So based on the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order issued on August 28, 2021, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a lien in the amount of $30,800 for 308 days of noncompliance from September 24, 2021 through and including July 28, 2022. The fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated. That completes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions on this particular case for Officer Bavaro?
Can we hear the second one, too? Mr. Warren? Can we hear the second one, too?
Yeah,
And then
yeah. Go ahead.
Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement, case 2134 CEB. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on August 26, 2021. An order is issued giving the respondents a compliance date of September 23, 2021. Affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the Code Enforcement Officer after reinspection on September 28, 2021. On December 2nd, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order continuing the case until March 24, 2022. On March 24, 2022, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order continuing the case until today. I did respond out this morning and observed that all the junked vehicles had been removed from the property. So based on the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order issued on August 28, 2021, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a lien in the amount of $30,800 for 308 days of noncompliance from September 24, 2021 through and including July 28, 2022. And the fine shall continue to accrue and the case is now in compliance. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Bavaro?
Nope.
Seeing none, this is your opportunity to speak. We have two cases here.
Yes, sir.
One appears to have been corrected.
Yes, sir.
There's still a number of days it was not corrected. That's the second case. And there's a fine, or a lien being, a fine of $30,800.
Holy moly.
With the recommendation of a lien being placed. The first one is still not in compliance.
Yes,
It's
sir.
the
I had a
removal-
structural engineer come
Removal
out.
remains of a structure, and that's what we're here for. So both of these, you can address these together.
I had a structural engineer, Ed Barfield, come out, who's the head engineer for the 6 Mile Creek project, which is our house, our street, and he said that I was fine. We took down what was no good, we left up what was good, and then he said because we're A1, we could get the, what do you call them? Like, temporary carports. And so I did. And then the young man came out because they were supposed to be under carports, I was told before, and he said that he didn't see them, that they didn't need a cover. But I'd already bought the stuff to cover them like before he said, so. But I had a structural engineer come out and he said it was fine to leave up what's good and take down what's bad because I can't find a roofer. I've had four roofing bids so far and none of them less than 10 grand, and they don't even mention a sheet of plywood or any wood or anything else. And they won't even tell me how many years it's even going to be good for. I've had 4 so far, none of them less than 10 grand. And trying to get another one because I need a roofer. I can't do this, my husband can't do this. I'm right now having that poor man tested because I believe he's got dementia, I believe he's got Alzheimer's. I've been married to this man 32 years and he's the finest man I've ever known. And we have done all this work ourselves. I went through our neighborhood offering everybody $20 an hour cash if they would please come help us. Nobody came. Nobody wanted to work. Nobody wants to work anymore. But we have done all of this ourselves, the two of us. Between Saturday evenings and Tuesday morning, all this work has been done by my husband and myself. I have the receipt from where I took the boat. We drove it to Daytona. I went to try to get a permit to do the roof. They said they didn't even know. And start calling roof and supply houses to see if the material's fine. And nobody seems to have an answer. Even the young man admitted to me that he didn't really know the code on that stuff, you know? And then he also said, quite frankly, that it depends on the whim or how everybody is that day as to how things go. And I said, wait a minute, that's whimsical. That doesn't make sense to me. Either it's this way or it's that way. I don't know any other way. But I had a structural engineer, you can talk to him, Ed Barfield, I got his phone number in my phone, and he'll tell you, he came and checked it out, and he said, we're fine. He said, what's there is good, what you took down was not, and that's under compliance.
Okay.
So I don't know what to think or where to turn. I've got new fences going up tomorrow. I got my fencing contract right here. 6-foot fences going all the way around our property line. Supposed to
I
be
need to
going in
bring it back
tomorrow.
All right, so we need to focus on what is before you today. With regards to the second case that is now in compliance, the officer read into the record the lien amount that's
30.
outstanding. Because it's in compliance, you have a choice. You can choose to either reduce that amount, you can choose to waive that amount, you can provide additional time to pay whatever amount you want to, and if that is met, then there is no lien imposed on the property. So let's make a decision on
It's
that
all
one
we have.
first. Okay, let's focus on that one first. So I assume she's requesting a waiver of the amount. You all can decide if you want to waive or reduce that amount and provide a time to
Good
pay.
Lord, we don't even get that much a year in Social Security together.
Let's focus on that one, and then we'll get to the second one.
Discussion, motion.
Motion to waive on the second one that's in compliance.
That would be, okay, I think we're talking 2133, that was the vehicles, the abandoned vehicles, first case that we heard.
No, it's item
second
6,
one.
which is 2134.
Okay. 2134, motion to waive the fines on that.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Hames. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay, so now on the one that remains, the situation that you're hearing from her was probably a discussion that should have been had between her and the officer, and so I don't know if you want to address the officer perhaps on what
Ma'am,
she's
I
saying.
did talk to the officer about it.
We're about to ask him about
Hold on a
it.
second. I was about to ask Officer Bavaro, in regards to what she said, I have a feeling you probably want to say some stuff.
I honestly was a little confused. What was the question exactly? What was the,
She said that you told her that everything was, she said a lot of stuff.
No,
but-
sir.
She-
He didn't.
she
The
said-
structural engineer.
She said the structural engineer
Ed
told her
Barfield.
that it was fine as much as they had cleaned it up, and that she talked to Mr. Bavaro about it, and that he told her that our decision is based on whatever our whim was on that day, is what she
I
said.
think-
He
So I'm
really didn't-
interested in him addressing
I
that.
think
So
what
am I,
the,
and that he really didn't know, and I have a feeling he did know.
what the confusion was is in my position, I cite you for, in this case, it remains in rubble of the structure. The structure's missing roofs, there's damage to the carport, windows, there's vegetation growing through it. In order to repair that structure, you need to go to the building division, and the building division or an engineer will tell you specifically how you need to repair this structure. That is not my area of expertise. I think that's where the confusion was. When you go to put on a roof, I have no idea if it was done properly or improperly. But the condition of the home is beyond livable, so I don't know where.
We live there. How could it be?
Ms. Ames, you have a question?
Officer Bavaro, could you clarify for me what I'm looking at? So is the structure on the right in those three pictures, is that the one that the structural engineer has declared okay?
I'm not sure. There's like
The
a lean.
carport. The carport was built originally like this, just like you see it.
That
That's not
portion's
down
right.
on that side, that's the way it was built for
Okay, what about the
drainage.
other two pictures?
So
What are we looking
I
at?
still do have concerns with the roof on the carport. If you can look in the image to the left, it's the roof is hanging off
That's
essentially
the
on the
same as
right.
the image on the right?
And then behind, on the image on the right, if you look through that white wall where it looks like doors kind of behind the tires, which are under the carport, that is a separate structure.
Oh,
That is also of concern. I believe Mr. Worstel may live on a different structure more to the left.
On the house, on
You
the
live in the
left.
house, right. So
Well,
you
yeah.
don't live in this structure. I don't know anybody that.
Nobody
that
lives in
structure.
that structure, it's just a shed.
But regardless, it would have to be repaired.
Like I
whether
say.
you're living in it or not.
Structural engineer told me the carport is fine, taking down the bad and leaving up the good. The structural engineer at Barfield said that we could get since we're A1, we could get the temporary things for the other items that y'all said needed to be under cover. I did, I bought them. Put one up, haven't finished the other one because I'm doing it by myself. I've done everything that I know how to please y'all, honest to God.
we just
Including
gave you $30,000.
$30,000, wait,
We just gave it to you. We took that off your list of things to worry about. We just did that. So now we're talking about something that can still be fixed.
well, it can if I can get a roofer out there for less. They want a minimum of 10,000 just for the house, not even including the buildings out there. Where do we, as two seniors on Social Security, where do we get that kind of money? Well, I finally,
Well, hold on before you get into, because we're not interested in where you get the money.
Right.
We are interested in you getting it fixed. Officer Boer, I have a feeling that she thinks if she puts a roof up there, everything's done, and it may not be. Is there somebody from building that will go out there and guide her what needs to be done to come into code?
I don't know if the building division would send an inspector. Generally, you would have to hire somebody yourself to go in and tell you what you need to do to fix it, to get it
Okay.
into a livable
That's
condition.
what I had
The
at Barfield
The
for.
structures she's referring to, those temporary carport structures, will not suffice to come into compliance with the junked vehicle ordinances, I believe, where maybe a little bit more confusion is. So you buy a temporary structure, it's not permitted, it's not attached to another building, that will not be okay for fixing a junked vehicle, because they need to be in an enclosed, attached, permitted, permanent carport.
well,
So,
the one that needs to be is, and you know it because you said yourself, Mustang
So,
didn't need a
but-
cover, it's fine.
Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. Go ahead.
She did make a lot of progress with the other violations there. The remains of mobile structures does exist still. Since 3/11/2020, this case was opened. She's admitted to me several times that she's been burglarized, in her terms, robbed. But
times.
she means burglarized. So by it being in this condition, there's an element for crime to occur. And
No,
it is-
sir.
and it
I
is-
can
Ma'am,
prove you're
please.
not right.
Ma'am, you'll have your opportunity. Go ahead.
No, sir, he's
And it is
angry with
occurring.
me because
That-
he wants to
ma'am,
say that if
please.
everything's clean and nice, nobody
Please,
would rob us.
please.
When I can prove I've been robbed 4 times while it was clean. 4 times while it was clean.
You want to finish?
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. It's been open since 2020. There are neighbors nearby. There's crime occurring there, and I believe because it's in this condition. It's the board's pleasure to do what they wish.
You're a bald-faced
The
liar.
only options you have in this case is to either impose the lien, and that doesn't mean she still can't come into compliance. The goal is compliance. Once she's in compliance, then the fines could stop accruing, and she can address any lien that you
Ma'am,
may have
how does
placed.
a structural engineer tell me I'm in compliance, but y'all say I'm not? How is that possible?
I think the bottom line is that this conversation is something that she should be having with the officer and the county at a different time, and unfortunately, you all can't make that decision for her.
Right. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I make a motion we impose a lien as recommended by the officer.
Okay.
What?
Second?
Have a
How much money are we talking, sir?
motion and a second, and I just need clarification. I want to make sure I know what case we're on, because the first one, case number 21-33 CEB, I believe is the one we're talking about now.
Correct.
Correct.
The remains and rubble of the
Not the
structure.
other way around, okay.
The 2134 was the junked vehicle, which
Right.
had been corrected.
So for the record, Pat, did you get that right as far as,
Yes, we waived the lien on 2134 CEB for junk
thank you.
vehicles.
Thank you, okay.
I have a question just for clarification. Officer?
Yes.
2133 is the one that has been open for over 2 years?
We initiated our initial inspection on 3/11/2020 regarding a vacant house and junked vehicle, a house in disrepair. Upon arrival, we saw several junked vehicles, boats, and the structure appeared to have roof damage. And then it's deteriorated since then. Quite honestly, we didn't see the other house that was kind of around the corner there until more recently.
So you mean you started a new list?
It's never,
That would be a new list.
That
this
answered my
particular
question.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Patton, did you make that motion, or did
No,
Ms. Haynes?
Ms.
I
Haynes
did.
made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay, Ms. Haynes made a motion to accept staff's recommendation as presented. Is that correct?
Correct.
Second by Ms. Patton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't know what that means.
Okay. So
Thank you.
we have accepted the recommendation of placing the lien on case number 21-33 CEB. It doesn't mean you can't still address it, but you need to take care of the problems that are out there, and you need to communicate with Officer Bavaro if you're unclear.
I have, sir. And so help me Jesus, I did
anyone
not
else?
misunderstand anything. The young man told me, quite frankly, he didn't know the
Everyone's
code.
present.
No, sir, please.
Go on.
This is
Sorry to put it on the
important.
agenda.
Okay, we're
The young
done
man
with your
told me,
case.
quite
Next
frankly, it
case
depends on
is
what day, what
case
mood
number.
you're in.
Ma'am, we're done with your case, but thank you for
Well,
coming.
then, where am I?
21-26
What am I doing? I don't know
CEB,
where.
Ruth McAdams, 305 Sweetwater.
Can somebody tell me
Circle-
what I owe, or who I owe, or
Sweetwater
what?
Club Circle, Longwood,
I don't know where I am.
Florida, 32779.
Yes, sir. Okay, I just don't, I don't know where we are.
Borrow at a later time.
Okay.
Not the place.
2220.
It's, looks like item 1 on our
Okay.
agenda on page 1 as well. So, Officer Bavaro, this is yours also.
Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement, case 2226 CEB, Ruth A. McAdams. Property is located at 305 Sweetwater Club Circle. Violation charge of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3F, which is foul or stagnant water. Initial inspection was conducted on 2/15/2022. That was by myself. There was an open case prior to Officer or Specialist Latavia Banks, but she has since departed the agency. Several notices were issued. Most recent inspection was done on 7/14/2022, and it revealed that the stagnant pool remained. Images you're about to see accurately depict the violations on the dates in which they were taken. This one on 2/15/2022. On this occasion, I was out there with Seminole County looking to abate the pool due to an unsecured pool, which was had been abated. Another inspection on 3/8/2022 and on 3/31/2022. And then the most recent one where I posted the property for the notice of hearing on 7/14. I did speak to the owner on one occasion, actually the owner's daughter. She explained to me that her mother no longer lived there, had kind of let the property go. They really had no other interest in the property. They had no intentions of correcting the issues. From what I understand, there's not a Liz pendant's been filed as of yet. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2226 CEB, it's determined that Ruth A. McAdams is the owner of record of the property located at 305 Sweetwater Club Circle in possession and control of the property in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, defined in 95.3F. We're requesting the board issue an order for compliance on August 11th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, they must remove or clean the stagnant foul water within the swimming pool, or a fine of $150 a day be imposed. And we also would like to note that we did high-contact mosquito control, and they're regularly treating the pool for mosquitoes. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Bavaro?
Motion to accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation as presented by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Hames. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to the next case is another Ruth McAdams case, same address, 22-27 CEB. Officer Bavaro, go ahead.
Thank you. Officer Barr, Summit County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement, case number 2227 CEB, Ruth A. McAdams. And for the record, I did submit a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. 305 Sweetwater Club Circle, violation charge of Summit County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.3B, which is uncultivated vegetation. Initial inspection was conducted on 2/15/2022. Several notices were sent out. Most recent inspection on 7/14/2022 revealed that the uncultivated vegetation remained. Images you're about to see accurately depict the violations on the dates in which they were taken. This one on 2/15/2022. Another image taken on 3/8/2022 and 3/31/2022. Now, this is in the backyard surrounding the pool, by the way. And then on 7/14/2022, where I posted the notice of the hearing for this case. I did speak with one of the neighbors who's present about the front, because as you can see, it's maintained a little bit in the front, but in the back is a disaster. And we suspect that maybe one of the other neighboring landscape crews kind of just comes over there and buzzes it real quick. So based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2227 CEB, it's determined that the respondent, Ruth A. McAdams, is the owner of record of the property located at 305 Sweetwater Club Circle, in possession and control of the property, and in violation of Sonoma County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3B. We're requesting the board issue a compliance date of August 11, 2022. In order to comply, they must remove or cut all the vegetation from the property. If they fail to do so, a fine of $50 a day be imposed. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Bavaro?
I have one. You indicated you had spoken to the daughter.
It was the daughter of the property owner, correct? From my understanding, and the neighbors may be able to elaborate a little bit more on this, maybe there's a poor health on as a part of the owner, and
But she's not living in the house, you said.
no, the house is vacant, which I guess there was, one of the doors is not secured properly, and there's some other issues with the roof that the county has a case on that they're going to do an abatement process on, but it is vacant and
So along with process to the actual owner, you spoke to the daughter and told her this also?
yes, she was aware, but I guess there was no interest in repairing it. There may have been some other tax issues going on with the property owner that if they were to take interest in the property, it wouldn't, she had mentioned something of that nature, it really wouldn't benefit them. So essentially, they walked away from the house, is what I gathered from the conversation.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation.
One moment. Is there anybody else here that came to wanted to speak to that? You mentioned neighbors and pointed out there.
Yeah, there's two neighbors here. I don't know if
Did
they have
anybody
any-
care to speak? You don't have to. I just wanted to make sure I covered it. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Patton.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation, second by Ms. Townsend. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moves on to the next case, which is right underneath that one we just heard. Number 3, 22-29 CEB. Ayman Al-Haj, Markham Road, Sanford, Florida, 32771. Officer Tamulonis, didn't even see you here today. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon. Joanne Tamulonis, Code Enforcement Officer, Sumner County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case number 2229 CEB. The respondent is Ayman Al-Haj. The property is located at parcel ID 3619-29-502-0G000000. That's in Sanford, Florida. And the violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3A, which is objectionable, unsightly, or sanitary accumulation of garbage, refuse, rubbish, junk, or debris. And My first inspection was on January 20th, 2022, with notice to respondents on February 2nd, 2022, and again on March 28th, 2022. Compliance dates of 2/18/2022 and 4/21/2022. Follow-up inspections, January 20th, 2022, March 14th, 2022, May 17th, 2022, and 7/15/2022. On 7/15/22, I also posted the property. The violation of the rubbish remains on the subject property. You'll see in the first image a pile of carpet and foam, wood, plastics, miscellaneous debris. And that picture was taken on January 2022. Spared you all the in-between shots. And again, on 7/15/2022, examples of the first pile that you originally saw and an additional pile. There is some piles back inside the weeds as well. But those were the best shots I could give you. There's the posting in that image on 7/15/2022. And I will say that I did speak to Mr. Al-Haj. We played phone tag a few times. When I first sent the notice of violation out, he was in Texas. He said he just got the notice. He was sending somebody out. And I went by, checked on it. A month later, the debris had not been removed, so I called him, left him a message, let him know. As I kept checking on it, we were not making any progress, so I filed of course, I sent him a final notice of violation and then ended up sending the notice of hearing to him. I did talk to him yesterday. I did explain the situation. He really couldn't make a flight that fast, so I told him what my recommendation would be, which I'm going to get to now, and then I will explain to you what he said about the recommendation. Okay. The suggested recommendation to the Code Enforcement Board that based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-29 CEB, it is determined that the respondent, Ayman Al-Haj, is the owner of record of the property located at parcel ID 3619-29502-0G000000, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, and further recommend that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of August 18th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove any garbage, refuse, rubbish, junk, or debris from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. When I explained the county's position in regards to this recommendation, he said that he could attain compliance by August 18th, but would prefer that he have 30 days. So basically an additional week. And that concludes my presentation at this time.
Thank you. Any questions, for Officer Tamulonis? Or
This started when?
January?
January
January?
20th this year.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation. He's had plenty of time to send a dump truck out to pick out that stuff.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Townsend to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to number 4, case number 22-30 CEB, Fred R. Boothby, 947 Fern Drive, Longwood, Florida, 32779. Officer Tamulonis.
Joanne Tamulonis, Code Enforcement Officer, Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2230 CEB. The respondent is Fred R. Boothby. The location of the violation is parcel ID 352029-501-0000-001C. This is in Longwood. This is on Fern Drive. The violation charged is Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 7, Section 30.122. The operation of a landscaping contractor business is not a permitted use of the property zoned A1 without a special exception. I initially observed the property on January 18th, 2022, with a notice to respondent on 2/15/2022 and March 28th, 2022. Compliance dates of 3/4/2022 and 4/21/22, with follow-up inspections January 26th, 2022, 2/3/22, 2/8/2022, 3/8/2022, 4/7/22, 4/22/22, 5/19/22, 6/9/22, 7/15/22, and 7/25/22. On 7/15/22, that's a tongue twister, I posted the property with a notice of hearing as well. The landscaping contractor business, without a special exception, remains on the subject property. Before I explain the pictures here, I want to explain that there are two companies basically working out of this property. I believe one is a subcontractor, Competitive Edge Landscaping and Team NSB, both working out of this Fern Drive location. One of them is it partially is a lawn maintenance company, and as well as some duties of a landscaping contractor business. It's kind of a mix and match going on here. In the first photograph, on January 18th, 2022, you'll see trucks and storage containers and equipment, mound of fill. I'm only citing for the business at this point. Second picture, from the other gate, you'll see some other equipment, landscape trailers, landscape debris, trucks, employee vehicles. Yeah, I think that one's an employee truck. The photo on 2/8/22, I went out there very early in the morning to watch for what activity actually taking place. I was able to see employees arriving in their personal vehicles and then waited and watched them take off. They basically left in a convoy. I observed 3 different pickup trucks and trailers from the company that had insignia of Competitive Edge on it, and that was approximately 7 o'clock in the morning. Another photograph showing one of the trucks coming out of the gate, the other one's lined up in the street waiting for him. And the next photograph showing the employees' vehicles after they left. On 3/8/22, you see more of the same. You'll see some bushes, landscape beyond the gate to the left side. They're starting to stockpile some vegetation, appears to be for their customers, and everything else looks basically the same. The activity is not changing. 3/8, you'll see the other side with more trucks, trailers, equipment. 4/22, same trucks, trailers, equipment. Skipping to 7/15, the trucks, equipment for the landscape maintenance / contractor type business. And 7/15, they have added more plants to this site, and you'll see the some of the work trucks, as well as the employee vehicles and the storage containers and other equipment. Excuse me. And you'll see the posting on the bottom left corner of that next slide. And a little closer shot of some of the landscape bushes and trees that they have on site. I would say there was about 100 small plants in the pots there, and 15 to 20 of the palm trees. And they are watering them so they don't die. So the special exception is something that they may be able to get. Of course, they have to submit for that through the county. I had a phone call, let me see when that was. I had a phone call come in from Amanda Bragg, who said she was the manager of Team NSB. And she contacted me on May 31st of 2022, after I had sent a notice of violation via email to the property owner, because the mail, according to the property appraiser, keeps getting returned to us as not valid, it's not forwardable, and why it's coming back that way, I don't know. I can't recall where we came across an email address for Mr. Boothby, but it was successful. He did respond back when I sent him a notice of violation, and he said that he received it and he will be working on it. He will get back with me, basically. That's when I heard from this Amanda Bragg person, who we played a little phone tag on June 2nd, 2022. I left her a very detailed message explaining about the process to apply for a special exception, gave her the phone number for the appropriate department at the county so they could get that going. Nothing was happening for a while there. We did finally send the notice of hearing because nothing was changing. No one was applying for the special exception. And Andrew Blate, who I have never spoken to, apparently was the one that contacted the county, started the application process on July 8th, 2022. And he submitted that application through Kathy Fall, the senior planner, I believe is her title. And she advised him and myself that he had put the wrong parcel ID down on the application. Actually, wasn't even close, so I'm not sure how that happened. And she had a conversation with him, and she advised him that he would need to resubmit with the proper parcel, which he has not done to date. So, as you see, nobody is here on their behalf, and I don't know what their thought process is, and I'm going to move to the recommendation. The suggested recommendation by a code enforcement officer is that based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22-30-CEB, it is determined that the respondent, Fred Boothby, is the owner of record of the property located at parcel ID 3520-29-501-0000-001C, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser records, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 7, Section 30.122, and it is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of August 18th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must cease the operation of a landscaping contractor business on the A1 zone property until a special exception is obtained from the county, allowing a landscaping contractor in conjunction with a wholesale nursery. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. And I do just want to clarify that a lawn maintenance company is also not a permitted use, so they're basically tied together in this. So we're claiming on their application that they wanted a special exception for a lawn maintenance company with, let me get the wording on that right. Within an existing small landscaping business. So there is a slight difference according to the county code, but they seem to be doing a little bit of both, and neither one of them is an allowed use on the property without a special exception. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Questions, Officer Termulis?
I have a comment and a question. First of all, you are to be commended for your yeoman's work of crossing the Ts and dotting the Is and doing your homework and being there at 7 a.m. I'm impressed, and that's very helpful that
Thank
you
you.
saw all this take place. That's
Thank
very
you.
helpful. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My question is, do both of these companies have occupational licenses issued by the county?
I actually didn't cross that T.
Oh.
I didn't look into that. I did find Sunbiz, Florida Corporations. I found the documentation for Competitive Edge, which the president is, let me see, which one of these tabs is that? Okay, last place I'm going to look. Right. Oh, here we go. Competitive Edge Group, Inc. The president is Fred Boothby, with the same address of 1490 Markham Woods Cove, which is the address where he supposedly lives, but all of that mail comes back.
I see.
We had someone else on the county have a brief conversation with him, and he claimed he was in Michigan, but we couldn't get an address. And we did explain to him, that person explained to him about the mail coming back and that he needed to change it to a valid address with the property appraiser, but nothing has changed on that. As far as Team NSB, I didn't look into Florida Corporations. I kind of found out about that name near the end of this case. And I did just go online to see what they did, and I found a website for them where they talked about, they do provide custom installation of landscaping, and hence the plants that are growing on that site at this time. Did that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Assuming that Markham Woods Cove address is a mailing address attributed to the owner of the property, is the address on the violation is different? Is that, the address on the violation, if I'm looking at this right, is 947 Fern Drive?
Okay, I did not create paperwork with that on it, so let me explain that. 947 is sitting on a mailbox in front of this property. I initially told our dispatch that was the location I was at, 947 Fern Drive. They said that does not exist. I said, stand by. I went onto the property appraiser, double-checked it. I said, you are correct. According to the proper property appraiser, there is no address associated with this parcel. So, moving forward, further research indicated that there is an address that pops up in the clerk's website. I believe it's called Navaline. That does show a 947 associated with this. Now, that is for the purpose of a building permit because they had, I pulled electric, I believe maybe for water, I think is what it was, to have a water pump out there. So once that electric building permit was pulled, an address was associated with that, but it's not associated with anything else.
I just want to make sure that he's not going to say he wasn't served properly. So 947 Fern is where you get mail kicked back? What about the?
No, I'm sorry, the Markham Woods Cove address, the mail comes back.
Okay.
And to take
Okay.
it a step further, because I thought, well, maybe that address is not good, and there's just an error, and that address doesn't exist, but the address does exist. So this is why I don't even understand what's going on with that. That address belongs under someone else's name. Not sure if I have a tab set aside for that, but that property is owned by someone else. So he may have been occupying part of that residence, renting the residence maybe at one time, renting a room. I don't know, because the residence apparently exists, but I get the mail back when I send it to him at that address.
Okay.
Regardless, you're using the address listed at the property appraiser site.
Yes, according to the property appraiser, yes.
Okay, thank you.
But I did to clarify whether he knows about it, so as you recall, I stated I sent him the notice of violation, the first one via email. He responded.
Great.
I sent him, I sent the final notice out and didn't get a response. I actually put the final notice of violation posted at the property, and when I got the notice of hearing from the clerk, I sent that to the same email address that he had answered me on before. So I sent that to him way back. So I'm assuming he got it. He did not respond to me that next time, but then suddenly, that's when we had activity. Once I sent that notice of hearing, that's when somebody, Andrew Blake, went to the county to do the application.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or motion?
Just a clarification, after you talked to him personally, he then...
I did not speak to him personally. I had an email with him.
Okay.
He responded back to me.
And it was after that that he increased his plants that are there?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I
Yes.
understood that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I made a note of that, too.
Mr. Bates had his hand up.
Mr. Bates, you have a question?
Yes. While I respect your diligence and your patience in chasing this scenario for at least 7 months, wondering why you haven't brought it to us before.
Well, I have a lot of other cases to work on, and sometimes I can't get right out there. Well, first we'll say, I need to make sure that I have the evidence I need so that I can bring it to you. And I try to get all of my ducks in a row and understand what's going on and make sure I cite them correctly, make sure I get the evidence I need before people get sneaky, So that is, at the beginning, what will slow down this particular type of process. From there, I have to send out the mail, I have to try, I'm getting the mail back, so I'm trying to do my due diligence to make sure we're getting in touch with the person so that they can do the right thing. Hence, trying to find an email address and all of those things took a little extra time. So on top of that, once I file it from the clerk, it's not up to me what agenda it gets on. Sometimes it's a few months more before we get here.
I would quickly add, that's a curiosity, not a criticism. And is there any type of permanent structure on that property?
No. There's the
building or-
storage containers are there, but they're not permanent. They're not permitted.
Okay.
And other things that are going on the property may be violations, but they're not the violation that I have authority over, and this is the one that I'm bringing you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, does anybody have a motion? The recommendation is to correct it by August 18th or $100 a day fine.
I would move the staff's recommendation.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Bates, second by Ms. Hames. Find that there is a violation to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And takes us to number 7, case number 21-66 CEB Michael Saberio, 155 Old Mims Road, Geneva, 32732. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This is case 2166 CEB, Michael Saberio, located at 155 Old Mims Road in Geneva. The violation charged with Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 6, Section 30.102. An accessory structure is not a permitted use in an A5 zoning district without a primary structure. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on September 23, 2021, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of November 22, 2021. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on November 23, 2021. On April 28, 2022, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order continuing this case to today's hearing. Based on the facts of conclusion of law and order, I'm asking the board to issue an order imposing a lien in the amount of $24,800 for 248 days of noncompliance from November 23rd, 2021 through and including July 28th, 2022, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill?
Is this the guy who was living in a shed while he was building a house?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
So where is he on the house?
Is that the house?
That's the house. So that's the house in the front, and then the accessory structure is in the back, behind it.
No RV?
There's the RV in between that he said was inoperable last time he was here.
Right.
And that's why he was
Right,
not
but-
able to live in it.
How's the house doing? It looks like he's making progress on it.
Got a roof on it.
They had a roof before, too.
It's got some windows in it now.
Have you spoken with him directly?
No, have not heard from him.
I'm surprised he's not here.
I don't know if
When I
have
was
that
looking at
on
the
there.
agenda, I said, I wonder if that's the guy who was building the house.
Yeah.
He had the heart attack and broke his arm and
Yeah.
a lot of extenuating circumstances.
Oh, yeah. It had windows and a roof before as well, back in April.
I wish he was here to tell us the progress on the house.
Yeah, back
So
in April
to your
of
knowledge, is he
27.
living in the house?
I don't believe so because it's not finished. And his washer and dryer are still sitting outside hooked up to a utility pole from before.
Ask that.
So,
You haven't talked to him at all?
not all, I've not heard from him.
That's unfortunate.
He's never communicated with me. Only maybe a few times in the beginning when the case was first opened.
He's not here to fight it, so motion to accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation, Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Hames, to impose the lien of $24,800, which will continue to accrue at $100 per day. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
The next three items look like they're under lien request, same respondent, and the respondent was properly noticed and is not in chambers, so you could do those as a consent item.
Okay.
If you'd like to take a moment and just look at the recommendation, unless there's something that you'd like to add, Officer Hill.
No, ma'am, yeah, I posted them on July 14th, 2022 in his front yard. So this is case 2176 CEB, Harry D. Billsborough, located at 560 East 2nd Street in Choliota. The violation charge is Seminole County Code Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3E, which was abandoned vehicles. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on January 27, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent compliance dated February 28, 22. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on March 2nd, 2022. Based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on January 27, 2022, I'm asking the board to impose a lien in the amount of $15,000 for 150 days of noncompliance from March 1st through and including July 28, 22, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day.
And that's case number 21-76 CEB. Go ahead, 21-77 CEB.
2177 CEB, Harry B. Billsborough, same address, 560 East 2nd Street in Choliota. Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on January 27th, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date of February 28th, 2022. An affidavit of compliance of non-compliance was filed by myself after reinspection on March 2nd, 2022, based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on January 27, 2022. I'm asking the board to issue imposing a lien in the amount of $7,500 for 150 days of noncompliance from March 1st through and including July 28, 2022, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per each day the violation continues.
Next one is 21-78 CEB. Go ahead.
2178 CEB, Harry B. D. Billsborough, located at 560 East 2nd Street in Choliota. Violation charge of Seminole County Code Chapter 95, Section 95.4 is defined in 95.3A, rubbish. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on January 27, 2022, and an order was issued giving the respondent compliance date of February 28, 2022. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on March 2, 2022. Based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order issued on January 27, 2022, I'm asking the board to issue an order imposing a lien in the amount of $7,500 for 150 days of noncompliance from March 1st, 2022 through and including July 28, 2022, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 a day. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill on any of those three? Seeing none, is there a motion, and we're taking all three of these together, is there a motion in regards to these, the lien request on these?
Motion to accept staff's recommendation on all three.
Second.
which is $7,500 times 3, right?
No.
No, the first one.
You get $15,000 on the first one, $7,500 on the second one, and $7,500 on the third one. So, motion by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Townsend, to accept staff's recommendation approving the lien request on case number 21-76 CEB, 21-77 CEB, and 21-78 CEB. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to cases not heard. You can review that for yourself. Brings us to the approval of the minutes from May 26, 2022. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Did we do number 11?
Did we do number 11?
We did, you weren't here.
I missed it.
You
Yes,
missed that.
okay, I thought that's what happened.
We
All
took
right.
care of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes from May 26, 2022?
So move.
Motion by Ms. Hames, second by Mr. Bates, to approve the minutes of May 26, 2022. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Confirmation date, next meeting, again, this is on a Wednesday. Mark your calendars, August 24th.
Why is that?
Because back in February, the building department had come to the board and requested that we move our hearing from the 5th to the 24th because they needed the chambers to do their training for their licensing.
Oh.
And the board agreed to move it to Wednesday.
Gotcha.
And then we all forgot about it.
Then we all forgot about it, or I didn't write it in.
And
I will not, I can't attend that, so mark me as an excuse.
okay. Before we adjourn, just a reminder for everybody, if you haven't done so already, to get your financial disclosures in, because they start finding you after a certain date. Supervisor of Election can furnish that for you if you don't have one. And anybody have any other business? Motion to adjourn.
Second?
We got to make it first. Make the motion. He's not allowed.
He was motioning it.
He can't move it. He can't move it.
Ms. Patton makes a motion to adjourn, second by
Second.
Ms. Haynes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang out here for a while.